Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing, man? Antonelli here, answering your questions today. Today's question is on unwritten rules in baseball. What are my top 10 unwritten rules? There are a lot of unwritten rules in baseball, and so I just put down the top 10 that kind of came to my mind first. Do me a favor and put down some other unwritten rules that I forget about today. Put that in the comment section below. I'll go and check those out after we post the video. I'd be interested to see what I missed. I'm sure I missed a bunch of them. Before we get into my top 10 list, let's just talk really quickly about what an unwritten rule is. And it's exactly that. It's unwritten. So basically, these aren't set in stone rules. They're not written down in a rule book anywhere. But they're things that players do or don't do just because it's, as a player, you kind of understand that you just don't do this stuff. They're unwritten, but they are rules, kind of. And so we're going to go through a bunch of them today. I'll give you my personal examples of these, and then we'll talk about it in the comment section below. So I jotted them down here. First one is do not talk to the pitcher when he has a no-hitter going. Okay, so this has happened pretty much every team I've been on. Not that I've been a part of tons of no-hitters, but I've been a part of a lot of almost no-hitters. So no-hitters that go into the 7th inning and maybe even the 8th inning, and I've been a part of some that go into the 9th inning. I've only been a part of one in an actual major league game. We were playing the Milwaukee Brewers. Chris Young pitched for us. I was starting at second base. And he had a no-hitter going pretty deep into the game. And then I've had a bunch of other no-hitters in the minor leagues, or close no-hitters in the minor leagues, in college, in high school, all that stuff. And so there's definitely a rule, an unwritten rule, that once you start getting close, excuse me, once you start getting close to a no-hitter or a perfect game, let's say we get into around the 7th inning or so, typically the pitcher's going to kind of go down his end of the dugout, and everyone else is going to go down the other end, and you're not going to talk to them because you don't want to jinx them, okay? I personally haven't seen any pitchers that just come and mingle with the players and act like everything is going great, and they act like they don't even know that there's a no-hitter. Everyone starts to know by the 7th inning typically, so definitely an unwritten rule. Don't go talk to the pitcher, at least all the teams I've been on. Number 2, no stealing or bunting when you're up by a ton of runs, or if you're just down by a ton of runs, okay? So if you're really beating the crap out of a team, you're going to play it station to station or base to base. You're not going to steal. You're not going to try to bunt. And typically if you're losing by a ton, it's kind of the same thing. So if you're down 10-0 in the 7th inning or something, like, you're not going to have guys stealing and you're not going to have guys bunting. It's almost like, out of respect, the other team's going to call off the dogs and you're not going to try to do anything like that either to get back into the game. So again, an unwritten rule of baseball. Number 3, drilling somebody or hitting somebody if you're a pitcher, if one of your guys got hit and it seems to be on purpose. A lot of times what happens is nobody tells the pitcher, hey, you have to drill this guy. Although I have seen it done a few times. I have seen a guy on our team get hit and somebody goes up to the pitcher and says, hey, man, you better drill somebody. And they go out and drill somebody. I have seen a few times where the catchers will do it. Usually the sign for that at different levels, if you ever see a catcher put down the old middle finger, that usually means like, hey, drill this guy right here. So I have seen that happen, but I've also seen it a lot where the pitcher just takes it upon himself and says, you know what, they drilled that guy on purpose, or at least it really seemed like they drilled somebody on purpose, and now I'm going to go hit one of their guys. So again, it's kind of an unwritten rule that you end up learning as you're playing, to drill a guy for revenge. Number 4. Don't pimp a home run. So pitchers are, I'm not a pitcher, I'm a hitter obviously, and I don't mind like hitting a ball and looking at it a little bit. I never hit home runs far enough where I could hit it and just kind of like pimp it and bat flip it. I had to hit it and run fast because I never knew they were going to be out by that much. But if you do have the power to be able to hit a ball and know that it's gone right off the bat, it is an unwritten rule to not sit there, stand in the box, wave it goodbye, you know, pull out the bazooka and use your bat as a bazooka or something, do a crazy bat flip. You've seen fights started before. Jose Bautista's bat flip. You've seen David Ortiz do some crazy bat flips. So it's kind of an unwritten rule that you should not pimp a home run. That's what you call it, pimping a home run. You should not do that too much. A little bit, okay. But you don't want to cross the line. Usually somebody's going to get drilled for that. Again, I think pitchers are too sensitive in most cases, but don't show the other team up. Don't show the pitcher up. That's kind of an unwritten rule also. Let's see, number 5. Don't step on the pitcher's mound when you're entering or exiting the field. So when the inning ends, you're coming off the field, don't step on the pitcher's mound, okay? Same thing when you're going out. If you're a base runner and you get out, don't step on the pitcher's mound. So the pitcher's mound is kind of like the holy spot where only the pitcher should go. Nobody else should be running on the pitcher's mound, and you'll almost never see anybody do it. Actually, I think you saw A-Rod do it. And I think Dallas Braden might have been pitching. I can't remember exactly, but I remember he got really pissed off and there was this big deal. So don't step on the pitcher's mound. No one's ever said don't step on the pitcher's mound. You just kind of know don't go stepping on the pitcher's mound, okay? That's number 5. Number 6, do not bunt to break up a no-hitter. I have seen this done before and people get pissed about it. They feel, now listen, I personally, if it's a close game, if it's a tight game, and you've got a bunt to get on, like, I don't really have a problem with that, but I've seen some people get really pissed because I've seen some no-hitters broken up. Even in close games where the batter lays one down and everyone gets all pissed off and somebody ends up drilling somebody because they bunted for a hit. I'm okay with it personally if it's a close game. If it's not a close game, if it's 6-0 and there's a no-hitter and you bunt for a base hit, like, I feel like you should be drilled. Personally. So again, another unwritten rule. No one ever tells you, hey, don't bunt when they got a no-hitter going, but it's just kind of the way that as a hitter, you just kind of know that, like, I should swing the bat to try to break up the no-hitter. That's number 6. Don't show up an umpire during a game. So this one is, you'd probably be surprised if you heard some of the players, the way that they're able to talk to the umpire, especially at the major league level. Pretty much the rule is in the major leagues, as long as you don't say you and then something bad after that, you won't get tossed. So you can't say you, I can't really say a lot of the words on here, but if you say like, that's something, or that call is something bad, you're usually okay. Just don't say you, S-U-C-K, or I can say that, you suck, or worse words than that, okay? So an unwritten rule is you don't want to show the guy up. So what I mean by that is a lot of times if you're a catcher, right, and I catch a ball and I think it's a strike, well then what happens is they'll throw the ball back to the pitcher and then they'll start giving the umpire an earful about it. But what they do is they don't look back. They just literally keep playing the game and no one can really see or hear what he's saying. And he could be tearing the guy a new one, but he's not showing him up. He's doing it without letting anybody else know. Same thing as a hitter. If you take a pitch and you think it's a bad call, well then if I step out and I'm just kind of here and you see the guy's lips moving, well they could be just hammering the umpire on the call, but they don't turn back, look at him, throw their arms up in the air and all that stuff. So there's a way to get your point across, even yell at the umpire without showing them up and letting everybody kind of know what's going on. That's kind of an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do. You can let them know, just don't let everybody know that you're letting them know, if that makes sense. So that's an unwritten rule. Let's see, number 8. When the bench is clear or when there's a fight going on, you have to go out onto the field. You don't have to go out and throw haymakers at everybody, although some guys do, but you have to go out on the field. So it's an unwritten rule until somebody does this, then they get usually fined or yelled at or something. If you're on the bench and there's a fight going on, someone charges the mound, and you say, you know what, go get him, guys. I'm just going to kind of chill on the bench here, and I'm just going to kind of get my popcorn and watch this. You're going to be in big, big trouble. So if there's a fight, if the batter charges the pitcher or something happens on the field, you got to go out there and protect your teammates, or at least get off the bench and go. Okay. So that's an unwritten rule. You better get out there, or you'll be in big trouble. 2 more. This is kind of another unwritten rule, although a lot of times not a lot of times, but managers usually will say this to you, is don't show up your teammates. Again, this kind of goes into the umpire thing where everybody knows. So if you're a pitcher and somebody makes an error, like it's pretty much an unwritten rule to be throwing your arms up in the air and doing all this stuff at your fielders, right? Or, you know, if the catcher doesn't catch a ball right, you know, doing all this, or anything, any position player, when it comes to another teammate, you're not supposed, or I shouldn't say any position player, any player, you're not supposed to be, it's kind of an unwritten rule to show up your teammates and let everybody know that you're pissed off. Now, I have seen players yell at teammates plenty of times, whether it's on the bench or in the clubhouse. I've seen that happen a bunch. But usually you do it in a place where not everybody can see, where there's not cameras all over the place if you're in the major leagues, so that nobody really knows. You don't want to let everybody know that you're ripping your teammate, okay? And then the number 10 one is steal signs. You can steal signs all you want, just don't get caught doing it. Don't make it obvious, I should say, sorry. Don't make it obvious that you're stealing the signs. That's what I meant to say, okay? So, like if you're on second base and the catcher's giving his signs here, right? He's giving his signs. You can steal those all day long. If you can figure out the system, right? So when there's a man on second, usually the catcher's going to use multiple signs. So there's some type of system that they're using. If you can figure it out and you can relay the signs in, then that's fine. But just don't make it obvious that you're relaying the signs, because then you're going to get drilled. So it's fine to steal the signs. Usually, you know, if you watch the runner on second base, you know, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, whether how they hold their hands. You know, we used to use open hand, close hand. So like closed hands would mean fastballs coming, open hands would mean off speeds coming. Sometimes you'll do like one arm down, two arms down. Sometimes you'll step forward with your left foot versus your right foot, and that all means different pitches are coming. So there's different ways to do it. As a third base coach, again, usually you don't see it a ton in the major leagues, but third base coaches, first base coaches, I've seen it plenty of times where they're stealing signs and tipping at the hitters. Again, you can steal them, just don't make it obvious. And if you get caught, then you're probably going to get somebody drilled, and you're going to have to live with it. So that's just another unwritten rule of baseball. Steal all the signs you want. It's up to the other team to kind of defend their signs, whether the catcher has to keep his knees closer together when he's giving signs, or you've got to come up with a better system. But just don't make it obvious. Now, there are certain ways that you're not supposed to steal signs. That's like if you're the hitter and you're trying to peek back and see the catcher's signs, like that's an absolute definite way to get drilled really badly. Like you're not supposed to do that stuff. But the other stuff is usually considered okay. Just don't make it obvious that you're stealing them and don't get caught. So that's my top 10 unwritten rules. Again, put in the comment section below a bunch of the unwritten rules that I forgot about, because there are literally tons of them. Baseball is a weird sport where there's like probably more unwritten rules than there are real rules. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Comment in the section below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not done so already. Give us a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. Share the video with all your friends. Check out the description box below. We've got a bunch of stuff going on down there. We've got a deal going on with Plate Crate. We've got a link to our Patreon page where you can support the channel. We've got a bunch of other stuff for you guys and girls. Thank you again for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.